Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. We're so pleased to be able to join you today. We are No Pants Improv, and we've also brought with us a very special guest from the other side of the pond, Mr. Sam Bowles. Thank you very much, Sam, for joining us today. Yes, exactly. Golf claps, proper golf claps all around. We're also very excited to have Kristen Drenning with us. Again, you may have seen her in the past hour making a lightning shift over to us. We are performing for you today Jane Austen-inspired horror. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. I think that speaks for itself. What we'd like to do is to hopefully, if you see us and would like to mention something in the chat, and our lovely tech people at Highwire can transmit that through the tubes of the interweb to us. We're interested in a problem that a Regency era family, a Jane Austen era family might have in their life. I believe we in the past had something like an illegitimate heir to the fortune. Well, that sounds like a perfect beginning to a story. I'm seeing lots of inspiration amongst my castmates. So without any further goings on, I'd like to present to you Jane Austen horror, an illegitimate heir to the fortune.
Mummy, oh.
Yes, darling.
Father, did you know, and Mummy, did you know that, have you heard about the new entry at Darrowfield Hall, Mr. Highlands? You have introduced yourself, haven't you, Father?
Introduced myself. I suppose I'll get around to it eventually. You do know, young Olivia, that I'm a busy man. I have the entire Worthington Partridge estate to manage. That's a combination of the Worthington estate and the Partridge estate.
Now, please, darling Olivia, do notice that you're at a ball and you can't be pestering your father for introductions. They'll be made in good time, should they be appropriate.
Yes, Mummy, of course. It's just that it is such a lovely inheritance, and there are so few, well, you know what I'm saying, so few opportunities for a young woman of my gifts.
I told you never to speak of those in good company.
Olivia, we are in a public space. The last thing I need on my mind after managing the entire Worthington estate and the entire Partridge estate is to be upon your case, following you around, making sure that you don't spill your family secret. We keep that quiet.
Of course, Father and Mother, of course.
I do hope to see you dancing and enjoying yourself and in no way embarrassing our family tonight, please, my darling.
Yes, of course.
No rituals, no strange. I've said too much.
Of course. I can't imagine under what circumstances you do believe that I could possibly perform a ritual at such a beautiful space like this.
Olivia, we don't use that word in polite company.
Oh.
Especially, give me that. I can see you've got a bit of chalk in your coat. We are not to draw pentagrams upon the floor of the ballroom. Hand it over.
Yes, Father, of course.
I say there's quite a number of sweet young ladies. I think that you should try and make their acquaintance and play nicely with them, so to speak. And
yes, Mummy,
I'll
do just that.
And certainly,
I'll do just
no talk of arrangements, no talk of marriage, just socializing. Yes.
Oh, I do worry about our daughter so. She is so burdened.
I cannot imagine the terror that would befall us if she were ever to fall in love. Ugh,
We must do everything we can to prevent that.
precisely. Now, I shall go back to my papers. And oh, I believe I see a cheese platter over there. Don't mind if I do.
Brother,
Oh, yes. I did. What was it that you were just saying now, Jennifer?
well, you know, I have condescended to attend the Wickers Ball, but I will tell you again, I do not approve of young Olivia, and you are not to socialize with her whatever.
Well, I shall socialize with whom I please. I feel like, as Lord Worthington, that I should be able to do something of that sort.
No, you've always been headstrong. Your whole life, you're just off doing whatever you want. No one can give you any advice. You know what? That's fine. You want to socialize with young Olivia? You do what you want. But I will tell you this, there's something weird about that girl. She scares me. She is off-putting. There's something not right about her, and her parents are covering it up. I'm sure of it.
I think that I've only seen her from afar, of course. We haven't been formally introduced, but I have seen her riding across the moor through the mist, usually sometime in the early hours of the morning from the window of our estate.
Oh,
And
Charles, such a romantic, really.
I can tell you that she does look lovely.
All young women look lovely when they know how to properly sit a horse, Charles.
Yes, I suppose that's right.
Indeed.
Oh, you do always know best, Jennifer. Oh, I suppose I should trust your judgment in these things, shouldn't I?
Well, I shall attend the ball to keep an eye on you, but I will keep off the dance floor and keep off from that Wicker family, whatever. I don't trust them, to be honest with you. There's something going on there.
Very good. Well, I think our footmen are getting us nearly to the gates, from what I can tell, anyway. Perhaps we should be prepared to be seen.
Okay,
Very good.
let's go.
Yes. Ah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Lady Partridge,
Yes.
it's my honor to be invited to your ball. I've
Oh.
heard wonderful things.
Of course you have. Of course you have. We, the Worthington Partridge family, are known for our hospitality and our eccentricities, perhaps, but we do throw a great ball, normally
Indeed,
filled with guests, and yet I see so few.
it's most peculiar. I hear your lovely daughter Livia has invented this wondrous new dance that all of the young ladies locally are talking about.
She led the young ladies in a dance.
Indeed, it looked most unusual.
My Lord Earl Wyndham, I entreat you to seek safety, perhaps behind a closed door.
That is a most peculiar request.
I
But
ask only that you preserve your life.
I, as the host of this event, I can only honor your most peculiar request. I shall leave you now then.
Well, just stay away from. I'm sorry, I've said too much. Olivia.
Okay.
I'm going to find her.
I shall leave
Mummy?
you.
Olivia,
Mummy,
did you lead the young ladies in a dance?
it was just a little dance. It was quite lovely. It was
And where
that
are
ball.
the young ladies?
Oh,
Hello. I'm a model. And it was lovely because Olivia led me in a dance, but my hand, I touched her hand and it felt electric almost, and my hand, it it feels it feels it feels so it feels so.
Miss, oh,
You've
Miss Elizabeth.
Olivia.
Oh dear. Hmm.
What have you done, Olivia?
I've done nothing. I've done nothing, Mummy. Just, oh, it's terrible. She's on the floor. Oh
Olivia? I am just now returned from the other room where I was enjoying a wonderful cheese platter, only to see that the floor is littered with corpses. Again. And I found this young lady choking as she attempted to stumble out of the side room. Look at this lady. Do you recognize the injuries which she has sustained?
no. Well, of course I do, Father. Although I had nothing to do with it. I think it's this terrible curse on this house has descended once again, and poof, all the people are dying. It's quite awful.
Olivia, this happens every single time that we hold a ball.
I know.
The entire town of Worthington has dropped precipitously in population since we've started holding them, and I am almost to the point of beginning to consider not having balls anymore.
Oh no, Daddy, you can't do that.
I'm with your father on this one. Now, please, Lady Jennifer and her charming seed are coming to visit, and I entreat you to please spare them.
Please, Olivia, keep them alive.
Lord, typical Lord Worthington Partridge buggers off when I arrive.
Oh, if it isn't great Lord Marmaduke.
You can just call me Marmaduke Darcy. Just call me Darcy. Cressida.
Marmaduke Darcy.
Oh, Darcy.
I'll leave you to meet my charming daughter, Olivia. Don't be careful.
I don't think I've had the pleasure.
Oh, sir, because we have not been formally introduced, I must bow away. I do apologize. And I will say, if you would like to meet my father, he awaits you perhaps in the study. And if you are interested in a small dance, I'm sure that, well, it could be obliged.
Indeed.
And perhaps you do want to touch my hand.
Well, of course. No, we must not. We must not. I feel I'm slightly taken. Breath.
Oh dear, something is wrong. What could it be? Oh my. Oh no.
Mr. Wyndham, I apologize for the state of the ballroom. Being as it is, covered in, well, it's best if you don't go out there and look. I know that you've only recently moved to the town of Worthington, named after half of my family, the Worthington Partridges, and our ways may seem unusual to you.
Indeed.
Now, why don't we attempt to socialize in here instead of going out to that stuffy old ballroom filled as it is with the bodies of the people who are definitely having a most exquisite time dancing, even though you cannot hear them at the moment. Why don't we socialize in here? Tell me about your family, Mr. Wyndham, Earl Wyndham.
Well, my family is a very, very old family, of course. We track our line back to the old Baruch family of the Bavarian region of Germany, of course. But when we were anointed earls by Charles himself, we became honorary members of this area, of course.
I believe I have seen many of your relatives in our peerage book. Why, take a look at this. Page 294. The Borough family line leads directly, oh, I see, right here, into the Wyndhams. How fantastic. Hey, I had no idea you were of such high breeding.
Yes.
In my inestimable respect for you, I must ask you, Earl Wyndham, are you currently married or in search of a partner?
I am currently unmarried and, well, there is a certain matter of my inheritance that is tied up in marriage in the right terms. I need to make the correct connection, of course.
Well, I'm sure that in a town of such estimable peerage as Worthington, you will have no difficulty at all securing such a connection. I
feel my great aunt would find the current behavior here most peculiar and might not approve.
Oh, well, I must reassure you in that case that everything that occurs here in the town of Worthington, why, a nascent city, one might even say, on its way to becoming as large and as filled with wonderful things as Bath itself. In this town, we do hold to our social traditions, we do hold to our norms, and we are respectable. I implore you to weight lightly the evidence that you have seen to the contrary, and please listen to my words. No matter what else you have heard about this place, no matter what else you have seen, we are respectable.
Very well. You shall have to introduce me to the local traditions, and perhaps the ministry can give me some rest on this matter.
Why, certainly. My cousin Charles Worthington, is of the ministry himself. He is an inestimable vicar, possessed of an incredible amount of knowledge of the holy books, the holy works of our Lord, and he is very, very respectable. In fact, I do believe I've heard his carriage pull up outside. Why don't we go and meet him and completely avoid the ballroom for the rest of the night altogether?
Oh, sublime. That would be most agreeable to meet such a holy man.
Ah, yes. Well, this is quite a lovely ballroom. It's these moments when I find myself missing the trappings of lordship. Sadly, my older brother got that title, and I am but a mere reverend of a...
Oh, Charles, just stop bothering everyone with your whining about not being firstborn. It's quite embarrassing.
Hello, welcome to our humble abode. Please, there's no more dancing because all the musicians have died, but perhaps there is lovely cheese board in the other room. We're so glad to have you.
I don't think we've been formally introduced.
I'm so sorry. My daughter, she forgets herself in her excitement. Please, my lovely daughter Olivia, the lady-to-be of this house.
Of course, wonderful. I am the Right Reverend Charles Worthington, your father's cousin. And this, of course, is my lovely sister, Lady Jennifer de Bourges. I'm sure you've heard
Jennifer,
of her.
what a lovely name that is. Oh, just stunning name. So special.
We'd heard so much of your beauty, Lady Jennifer, and it has proven true.
Lady Cressida, you say too much. You do embarrass me. You know, I am ever so pleased to make your acquaintance and that of your family. Thank you for having us tonight at this ball. It's quite empty in here.
We've decided, unfortunately, to reschedule the ball, but we couldn't get word to your carriage. Yes, Olivia is feeling unwell, and right, Olivia?
No, actually, I feel just fine.
Olivia?
But there are a lot of corpses.
Miss Livia, perhaps if it's all right, you could take my arm and I could escort you to that lovely cheese platter that's waiting just over there. Just
I would love that.
The bodies.
But perhaps rather than your arm, I could just touch your hand a little bit. Just raise my hand.
Olivia?
No.
Very good.
Olivia?
No. What? No.
Charles,
Yes, Mummy?
the party's over.
No. I'm so sorry. Forgive my manners. We were actually hoping to extend you a rather longer invitation. We'd hope you would stay in occupancy here on the estate, the Worthington estate, and take up the guest wing, because we would like for you to keep our lovely Livia some civilizing company.
Oh, well, you know, my lady.
Oh, yes,
We
please.
haven't packed for a house party.
Oh, well, I think that would be lovely. And of course, we could just send Perkins off with the carriage to fetch our things. And we would love to stay. I think that would be delightful.
Love to, Charles.
We have a young man who's come from Ireland to take up the rectory, and I know that you're a man of the faith, Mr. Charles.
Oh, yes, of course. I should love a chance to speak about the holy book with Livia, perhaps, or well, anyone who wants to hear, really. I'll speak with the flowers if they allow it. Lady Jennifer knows that.
How delightful, a weekend with our cousins and the Irish.
Mm-hmm. I am, of course, of Irish extraction myself.
Makes sense.
Right. Why would someone say my name?
Oh, yes, Perkins, if you wouldn't mind, just riding back in the carriage and fetching the rest of Lady Jennifer and my luggage. The light seems to be fading a bit in here, and we'd like to stay for perhaps a week or two here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it'll be done. You want me to drag these bodies out of you too?
Just the luggage, Perkins. That will be perfectly acceptable.
I do like dragging bodies though, but all right.
Well, maybe take one because. Oh, all right. They are stopping the dancing.
I heard you say I could take one.
Mm.
Well, just one, Perkins. We don't want to overdo things.
They're plague victims. We gave them alms.
Oh, that's just how I like them.
Oh, very good.
I have two.
Very good.
Two.
Everyone.
Might I have
Yes.
two?
You may have two, Perkins.
Might I have three?
Now you've got to stop, Perkins. You've become impertinent.
Oh. Oh, it'll take me a few minutes to get that one, but I'll get there. All right. I see I've gone too far. I'll get those bodies in your luggage for you.
Well, we are so glad to be able to extend our hospitality to you and get to know you and your family better.
Yes, such a wonderful idea, Lady Cressida.
Yes, we insisted.
I can see, yes.
Please do come enjoy the cheese plate.
Yes, let's.
Ah, lovely fresh air here. Oh.
Oh, yes, so it is. Lovely air. Not quite how I like it. I like it damp and I like it musty. But I suppose some people like the flowers too.
What is it you have there, my good man?
Two bodies.
bodies?
That's right, 2 corpses, rotten. Just rotting away.
Oh, my word. What has you with bodies here?
I'm not sure how you're having trouble understanding the concept. There's people that's living and then they die and then they become bodies. That's when I drag them away. Don't ask what I do with them. I don't like it when people ask that.
That is most peculiar and most unusual, but where did you get the bodies?
Right in there, right in the ballroom. There's a lot more if you want one too.
How dare you assume I would want a body?
Well, I weren't no assuming. Just if you want one, there's a lot more. If you don't want one, that's all right. Perkins don't mind. More for Perkins.
Must go and investigate what is going on in there. Enough with you, my good man.
All right. Just me and my buddies trundling along. Perkins is having a good day.
Ah, perfect. Seems like the perfect place to just relax and read a little bit of the Holy Word. Seems like the book of Job would be a lovely place to start. Yes. Oh,
well, hello there.
Earl Wyndham, I believe I've heard about you. Yes, Reverend Worthington. Yes, the Chester Worthingtons. Yes, lovely to make your acquaintance. Yes.
Now, Reverend, you must explain this situation to me. I happened upon a knave who was carting bodies. 2 of them.
Oh, yes, that's Perkins. We had sent him for our luggage, but I suppose he got a little bit carried away with the bodies. You see, it's I'm afraid it's got something to do with the curse of the Worthingtons. You see, that's why I went into the priesthood instead of being able to take a wife and the like. You see, every time a young Worthington a young female Worthington comes of age, you see, the curse finds her. Yeah, the curse finds her, and she kills every potential suitor that she touches. It's really quite horrible. I'm sure you've heard about the village of Eli in 1587. The village of
the plague?
Well, that's what they called it, of course. The plague. I'm sure you've heard of Salvington upon the Wold just 50 years ago.
Where there was a fire?
Well, that's how they got rid of all the corpses, of course. You see, the only way we can break such a thing is to have such a Worthington marry, so that they can have a proper line. You see, that's where it all comes in, and I'm afraid no one's been able to get close enough to a Lady Worthington to make that happen. I thank goodness that my own siblings, they just don't have enough Worthington blood in them. So Lady Jennifer is certainly protected, but poor Olivia, I'm afraid she's not.
Most alarming, and
Yes.
I'm so sorry for disturbing you. I couldn't help it over here.
Just thinking about family unmentionable secrets that, well, I should probably be going. I think the lilacs are in bloom this time of year. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, wrath
Oh.
is a foolish man. Excuse me, everyone. I was just getting into my Bible.
Well, Mr. Wyndham, I see that you've met Charles.
Indeed.
And he's disclosed to you some rather unfortunate facts that happen to pertune to our family.
Yes, my lady Worthington Partridge.
I hope you shall not look too ill upon us for our many, many misfortunes and our somewhat bloody history. It's not as if we are doing it on purpose.
Not as if you aren't doing it on purpose.
Or are.
It's the sort of thing that just happens to us.
Just happens.
And we try to make do. You know,
There's no... Oh, yes, husband, please.
We are a respectable family, after all. And regardless of the curse, we have kept the grounds in good order.
Mm-hmm.
We have maintained our estate to the highest degree.
There is no pecuniary incentive for us to allow the curse to continue to ravage this village and to kill its many youths.
That is why we have forbidden our daughter Livia from ever taking a suitor. For
You
such
must
a
not
man
ever
or
love
woman
her.
would die immediately.
Yes.
The only way that the curse...
Say, this is a lot to take in one go.
Don't worry, Mr. Wyndham. You'll have time to get your mind around it. I'm afraid I cannot let you leave.
Why do you want me here?
If the secret were to escape, well, tell them what would happen, Lady Cressida.
Well, it would be a disaster. The curse would be loosed upon the entire countryside. There'd be no village or hovel left unturned. All the young would perish, and we couldn't have that kind of carnage. We try and contain it to this one village as best we can. Also, we had you so in mind for our rectory.
Me? For
Yes.
your rectory?
Yes. You know, I am of Irish extraction.
Wyndham.
Yes.
In a rectory?
Yes.
I dare say you're taking this news a bit more heavily than the news about the curse that kills people.
Well, one must deal with...
I mean, the titles of Ireland, you can't expect us to... There can't be an earl in Ireland is a...
I haven't walked in on anything, have I? I just
Nope. No.
down the path, figured it was nearly time for tea.
Nothing, Charles.
You'll be joining us for tea, won't you, Earl Wyndham? My brother's cousin makes the most wonderful lemon biscuits. I've been rather looking forward to them.
I'm going to look for my daughter.
Seems I have no choice but to join you.
Oh, yes. Well, I do hope that you'll pass a lovely cup of Earl Grey and a few lemon biscuits, if you don't mind. I'll see you indoors. I can't wait.
See you there.
I was hiding in the bushes and I heard everything. A curse? What are they talking about?
Daughter.
They secretly kept from me, so I'm doomed to be alone for the rest of my days? Mummy, how could you?
Well,
I just thought everyone had a bad case of food poisoning. But no, it's me. I'm causing this terrible, terrible terror.
Livia. Livia, get hold of yourself. It's time that I let you in on the secret of our family that we have long kept and which continues to mark us. We're cursed. Yes. We're cursed. And here's the other thing. Soon, when you fall in love, which you will inevitably do, inside will awaken in you a bloodlust such as none has ever seen before. It happened to me, and I enjoyed it immensely, and it'll happen to you. And then you'll be happy there's a curse.
But I don't understand. Father is alive and well.
He is immune. He's the legitimate heir to the property, and so can withstand all of our many devilings. Yep.
But I'm the legitimate heir to this property, so are you telling me I can't have anyone ever without killing them?
I should think you'd like to find out, and we've assembled suitable candidates for you, and if it works and they're legitimate, then they won't die, and that will be lovely.
I think I understand. So if it's true love and it's legitimate, then they don't die. But if it's just like a sex thing, then they'll
exactly
die.
That. Yes.
Oh, I understand.
Prurient interest, right?
But all right.
You have no idea, daughter, how many young suitors died in my wake as I quested after the right gentleman. I expect you'll have to be careful with your heart if you want to see everyone live.
There was that Darcy fellow. He was quite attractive, though very come-uppish.
You did murder him,
but he is dead.
Squarely, yes. There could be some remedy. I don't know.
Well, tell me before I waste the village.
I suspect that the other branch of the Worthingtons know that secret. Those cousins know all about us and have made a study of our poor maladies. So I wonder if they don't know something we do not.
Well, that Lady Jennifer is... I'll do so, post haste.
Very proud of her.
I do so hate visiting this side of the family now.
All right. Well, I suppose it was time for tea.
Gomery, you know, the stench of dead people does fill your house so.
You get used to it after a while.
I suppose I must. Yes, tea would be delightful, dear. Thank you.
I shall fix it immediately.
Certainly you're not fixing your own tea.
Lady Jennifer, I have so longed to meet you for so long. I mean, I have longed to meet you for a very long time. It's been long since I have longed to meet you. I've heard of you, of course, from Mummy and dear father, and all of your elegant ways, your citification.
Thank you, dear. You know, we had met once when you were quite young. I'm certain you don't remember, but you were quite unusual then, even. So I'd say you're very consistent, dear. And it is a pleasure, of course, to meet you here in your home, but rather unfortunate to have come after an episode of such bloodlust, really. I mean, calling it the Spanish flu, indeed.
Lady Jennifer, that is exactly why I have to meet you and why we must confer. You must help me. We must put an end to this curse. I don't know how. I've only just learned of it. I did think it was the Spanish flu, or I really thought it was the stomach bug, but it's all right, something. But it turns out it's me. I am wreaking havoc, and you all knew. So it's your duty. You must help me.
Well, dear, you know, I'm afraid there's nothing to be done. You know, the curse is permanent, and because of that, you're much like your mother in your thirst for blood, your quench. Although quite unusual that you don't remember killing all these people. It does seem a bit different. So,
well, I remember something. I remember the blood pouring out of my hand. I remember a feeling of intense, passionate heat erupting. Well, anyway, that's what I remember. And then there's all these dead bodies. You must help me.
Well, dear, I'll tell you, I think there is one solution. You must remain alone for the rest of your life. It is dancing with other young ladies and flirting with men and experiencing that sort of heat in the blood that does quite bring on the bloodlust,
But no,
Isolation.
this is what you advise, that I remain alone my entire life, locked up here
You are not safe, dear. You
in
simply,
my father's estate.
your parents let you run around the town, and I don't know why. I think if you were my daughter, I would confine you to a single room.
Lady Jennifer, please let me see your hand. Let me just hold it for just a moment. Put it up like this. Do you feel that? The electricity? Do you feel the power? How could I possibly forsake that? Do you feel it coursing through you?
Oh no, Livia, I'm afraid. Oh, Livia, I'm so afraid it's taken hold of you completely. And you seem so present indeed. Stop, Livia, stop. Well, I think there's only one solution. If it's not to be isolation, then you must run away from here.
I must do what?
Run away.
Then
We're not-
I just...
None of us safe while you're, of course, Charles and I are, because we are of Worthington descent and we are immune, but no one is safe while you are here. And I think perhaps you should run away and isolate yourself somewhere further away from town, perhaps.
I shall take your advice under advisement, because I have long longed to speak with you, and under advisement is where I shall take your advice.
Well, do take care.
I'm back with the tea. Where has Lydia gone?
Oh, Montgomery, she did say something about a lie down, I believe, a little rest. Well, she was feeling rather worn out. A lot of energy expended, in the episodes. So.
Certainly. I suppose that should be good for her. It means that she'll be staying away from that Earl Wyndham, after all. Well, I suppose we can just lie down and have a nice spot of tea. Should be a welcome respite after the day's events. Wait, do you see that out the window? Is that Perkins? What's he doing with those bodies?
Oh, Perkins, always moving the bodies. Perkins, do leave the bodies.
Perkins, stop doing that with the bandsaw. No, off. Bad Perkins. I suppose I better go down and deal with it.
Montgomery!
Yes.
Montgomery. Yes.
Yes, General Matheson.
You remember us? You remember me from our days at military school?
Yes, I do remember. You're back from the war now, I suppose.
Well, I say, old chap, it's going rather badly. I hope you don't mind my attempt at civilian attire. But I did want to speak with you a bit in private, if I may.
I shall leave you, gentlemen.
Yes, Lady Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind going down to the front lawn and just dealing with Perkins. All right, just...
Of course, yeah. I'm off to speak with Perkins. Pleasure to meet you, General.
Thank you ever so much, Lady Jennifer. I am all gratitude. General Matheson.
Yes. Well, old man, I thought I would come by because I seem to recall, something about the curse of the Worthingtons and your daughter. You're back from our days when we used to room together at Eton before I went into the military. You see, things have been going a little, not so well down in Calais, you see, and we're hoping we could borrow Livia.
Surely you're not intending to use my daughter as a weapon?
It's just not a weapon per se. Just perhaps she could meet some nice French soldiers, a tavern or something, and where they could have that curse business happen. And then we'd be right as rain again.
Richard Matheson, when I knew you in our days as young soldiers, you were an upright, respectable gentleman. And I will tell you this, no matter what our family has become, no matter what curse falls upon us, the one thing that we will always remain is respectable.
Oh, we're desperate, man. We just really need some help out there on the front lines. Pretty soon we'll all be eating escargot and being improperly rude to one another. We can't have that now, can we?
Do I look like I care if I have a fine English bread or a baguette for breakfast? What I care about is my daughter, Matheson. I will not put her in harm's way. I have kept her away from love, away from suitors, away from men and women who look incredibly beautiful and young for so many years, because I do not want her to turn into a monster.
Well,
I will not let that happen to her, and I will not let you do this.
Very well. I have to figure out something else then, old man. Perhaps a new sort of cannon or something. In any event, if things change, you'll know where to find me. Just contact the Home Office, just like old times. I'll show myself.
Certainly.
I'll show myself out, sir.
It was a pleasure. Olivia, what is to be done? I cannot let her live like she has been living, alone, isolated. I cannot let her be turned into a weapon. The only way to break the curse is for her to find true love. But is there even such a thing? Lady Cressida and I have found it, I suppose, in our long years here. But are we the exception? Or do we prove that such a thing is possible?
You fool. You old fool. You truly believe that we two share true love?
I don't know if such a thing exists, but I was safe from the curse, was I not?
You're safe from the curse because I spared you, because I needed to create an heir, because I needed to have a line, and because our curse can be elective.
Livia could control the curse the whole time.
If she were to know that, she might marry injudiciously. It's better to make her really think about it.
If she could marry for love. She could be whoever she
already
wanted.
due to marry
she could
for
be
love.
free.
My darling, you're
We've
here.
kept her under false pretenses this entire time.
Yes.
This cannot stand a moment longer. I shall fly from this room and I shall notify her. This lifelong disaster can be at an end. No. Lady Cressida, your touch has always brought good things in my life. Don't let it end like this. Oh. It feels like electricity, even though I don't know if that's been invented yet. Oh. I feel my heart skipping a beat.
It's a shame you won't be able to join our daughter at her wedding.
Cressida, why? Please, just give our daughter a good life.
Because I have the bloodlust and I enjoy it.
All I've ever asked of you is that you give me a good family. Please let Livia have a good life. Please. Livia.
Perkins, I need you to retrieve something.
Is it another body? I do so
Yes.
love bodies.
It is indeed. It's a special treat.
Oh, one moment. Right. Oh boy. Oh, I recognize this one. That was the guy that was shouting at me not to do what I was doing with the bodies. Oh, I know just what I'm going to do with him.
You there? Any lemon biscuits left? I suppose not. I suppose I could have a spot of tea at least. Feels positively electric in here. Well, I suppose I'll be getting on then. Very good.
Reverend Worthington, please.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
spoken to your sister. Please, I know I'm being forward, but I have spoken with your sister, and she advises that I know you know everything. She advises that I run to the wastes and hide myself like a hermit in a shack. But I can't do it. I can't do it. Reverend Worthington, please, you must help me. There must be some way to break this curse.
I do believe there is. There is. I mean, we can't have you running off into the wilderness like that. That's how we lost Southington on the Wall when I was a boy. But in any event, I think there is a way. You see, to break the curse. If I remember correctly, my mother's grandmother said something in here in the family Bible about it being choosy. Yes, you can select it once you can control it. That's what she said in here anyway. And that all that's needed for you to marry is to decide on a proper suitor, and then but that's really it. And then you can marry that person carefully, of course. And you've got it tied up in a little bow.
So what I understand from what you're telling me is that I could marry anyone I choose, and that I can choose to use these powers for good or for evil.
Yes, that's exactly what my mother's grandmother wrote in here. You see, it's rather hard to follow the script.
And my mother hid this information from me, did she not?
Well, she always was a bit singular, shall we say.
Reverend Worthington, you must help me.
Of course. Well, if you could just
My
find someone you want to marry.
My mother must come to justice.
Yes, I'm sure we could figure things out if we could just have you find someone that you're pleased with, and then, sort out the whole curse thing.
Wait. I have to marry someone because I do inherit this estate. So I do have to marry someone in order for this curse to...
Well, hold on a minute here. No, I don't think it's required that you marry someone, actually. Yes, no, if I remember correctly, your third cousin, yes, she seems to be quite happy in the family tree and quite singularly alone. Yes, no, I think that's correct. So why don't you do this? I feel like this holy repository of family knowledge might be of use to you. And I've been carrying it about, but there's plenty of Bibles about in my vicarage, so why don't you take this one? And I'm sure it'll tell you all that you need to know.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Worthington.
Yes.
And with that, since I no longer need you, please let me take your hand.
All right. Oh.
Yes. Oh, the blood. The blood. The blood. The blood.
They were right. There's my whole family history in their library.
Oh, Mr. Wyndham, Mummy.
I'll leave you.
Mr. Wyndham, it is so lovely to meet you. I had no idea that you were still here. I'm very grateful that we've met, and but I'm afraid that you've been invited here under false pretenses. For my mother and father, they believe that you're an adequate suitor for me, but I have decided I'm not going to marry.
Oh, that's perfect. May I leave then?
Of course, of course. Yes,
Of
yes.
course,
But first,
you can't leave.
Mummy, stay out of this. Oh, I
Okay.
see.
All right. I will stay out of this.
Mummy, Mr. Wyndham, please, you must help me. Use that knife on my mother. She's the one who's keeping you here.
You're right.
And
Why is she?
knife her when you say it. Say these words here. It is not to be conceived that a man of 3 or 24 should not have liberty of mind or limb to that amount. Say those words, those exact words, while you knife her. Thank you. You're a wonderful man.
Hello. I brought you some tea cakes and some snacks and a little bit of sherry for your research.
A gift from your daughter.
Yes, I did notice. Don't you see that in killing me you shall only fulfill the curse? You shall seal her bloodlust absolute if you commit matricide on her behalf.
This is also confusing.
It is
Both
extremely confusing.
far too much sense.
Far too much. Let me tell you how it really ought to end. You should elope with my beautiful young daughter up to Gretna Green, which is in Scotland, not Ireland, and live a happy life in the country, waging horrible, bloodlust-filled, curse-ravaged killings.
Trying to manipulate me.
Yes.
It is not to be conceived that a man of 35 years should be torn of his independence.
But I was going to give you my very eligible daughter. I was going to let you leave.
I need to run.
Oh, is everyone gone then? Excellent. I think I'll have a ball. Oh, Perkins!
Not quite everyone, Livia.
Oh,
Oh, I see that Lady Cressida's down there as well. So many
Yes.
bodies.
so many bodies. And this is all mine.
This is the best day of Perkins's life.
Shall we have some tea?
Oh, certainly, Lady Livia. But don't
You
ask
can
me to
go.
shake your hand.
No, that's not a good idea. We'll save that for later.
And we'll call things here. Thanks, everyone. This is a wonderful story about a young Regency era woman discovering her terrible and horrible curse, yet odd superpower, and how it can be both constraining and freeing. I'd like to bring everybody back on for just a brief moment, just to say thank you. This was a lovely experiment. I greatly appreciate all of your contributions and our lovely guest, Sam, experiencing the weirdness. Thank you, Sam, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, super glad. And many thanks to the good folks at Highwire for being willing to take on an odd, fun experiment. And from here, we'll leave you with a proper goodbye.